Caribbean, a region of stunning natural beauty and rich cultural diversity, has also been a stage for some of the most significant and transformative historical events in the Americas. From the brutal realities of the colonial period to the complex challenges of the 21st century, the region has witnessed a series of upheavals that have shaped the identity of its people and left an indelible mark on the world. Here to tell us some more about 10 of these significant historical events that have defined the Caribbean is my colleague Ryan. Hi Ryan.
Thank you, Emma. Hi there and welcome once again to another episode of the Aaron Darcy Project. Here is where we explore the rich and diverse history of the Caribbean region. I'm your host Ryan, and today we'll take a look at 10 significant events that have shaped that rich history. We begin with the arrival of Columbus in 1492 and the beginning of colonialism. This was one very important event that we would have learned about in primary school. Christopher Columbus's arrival in the Caribbean in 1492 marked a watershed moment, initiating the era of European colonialism and irrevocably altering the region's history. His voyages, sponsored by the Spanish crown, led to the establishment of the first European settlements in the Americas, transforming the lives of the indigenous Taino population. The initial encounter was catastrophic for the native populations. Diseases introduced by Europeans, such as smallpox, decimated indigenous communities, and the imposition of forced labor and oppressive colonial systems led to further population decline. Following on the heels of Columbus, the Spanish conquest set a precedent for other European powers, including the British, French, and Dutch, to establish colonies in the Caribbean, initiating centuries of exploitation and cultural disruption. These two events signified the start of the Columbian Exchange, which saw the transfer of plants, animals, and diseases between the Old and New Worlds, with profound consequences for both sides. Number 2. The rise of the plantation system and the transatlantic slave trade between the 16th and the 19th centuries. The plantation system, fueled by the insatiable demand for sugar in Europe, became the economic backbone of the Caribbean colonies. To sustain this system, European powers turned to the transatlantic slave trade, forcibly transporting millions of Africans to the region. The horrific conditions of the Middle Passage and the brutal realities of slavery shaped the social, economic, and cultural landscape of the Caribbean. The legacy of slavery remains deeply ingrained in the region's history, influencing its demographics, social structures, and cultural expressions. The resilience and resistance of these enslaved Africans and indentured Indians, Chinese, and other peoples was expressed through rebellions, cultural preservation, and the creation of unique syncretic traditions. These are crucial aspects of Caribbean history. The slave trade's impact also heavily affected the African and Asian continents, causing massive population loss and societal disruption. The third significant event on our list is the Haitian Revolution of 1791 to 1804. The Haitian Revolution, a rebellion of enslaved Africans against French colonial rule, stands as one of the most remarkable and significant events in Caribbean and world history. Led by figures like Toussaint Louverture, Jean-Jacques Dessalines, and Henri Christophe, the Haitian Revolution was the only successful slave revolt that resulted in the establishment of an independent nation. In 1804, Haiti declared its independence, becoming the first free black republic in the world. The revolution's impact reverberated throughout the Americas, inspiring other slave rebellions and challenging the foundations of the colonial system. It also instilled fear in slaveholding societies, leading to greater repression and a hardening of racial attitudes. Number 4 on our list is the abolition of slavery in the 19th century. The abolition of slavery in the British Caribbean in 1834, followed by other European colonies, marked a crucial turning point in the region's history. While emancipation brought an end to legal slavery, it did not immediately translate into equality or social justice. Former enslaved people faced continued discrimination, limited economic opportunities, and the imposition of restrictive labor laws. The transition from slavery to free labor was complex and fraught with challenges, as planters sought to maintain their control over the workforce. The legacy of slavery continued to shape social and economic relations in the Caribbean for generations. Eric Williams, former Trinidad Prime Minister, in 1938 completed a groundbreaking thesis, The Economic Aspects of the Abolition of the Slave Trade and West Indian Slavery. This has presented a seismic shift in the understanding of the Caribbean's history. Number 5. The rise of nationalism and independence movements during the 20th century. The 20th century witnessed a surge of nationalism and independence movements across the Caribbean. The decline of European colonial powers after World War II created an opening for the region's people to assert their right to self-determination. Leaders like Alexander Bustamante and Norman Manley in Jamaica, Eric Williams in Trinidad and Tobago, Fidel Castro in Cuba, and Burnham and Juggin in British Guiana spearheaded movements for independence and social reform. The attainment of independence by many Caribbean nations in the 1960s and 1970s marked a significant step towards decolonization. However, the legacy of colonialism continued to influence the region's political and economic development. Number 6 on the list of significant events in Caribbean history is the Cuban Revolution of 1953 to 1959. The Cuban Revolution, led by Fidel Castro and his revolutionary forces, resulted in the overthrow of the US-backed dictatorship of Fulgencio Batista. The revolution's socialist ideology and its alignment with the Soviet Union during the Cold War transformed Cuba into a focal point of international tension. We will discuss this on a future episode, the Cuban Missile Crisis. The Cuban Communist Revolution had a profound impact on the Caribbean and Latin America, inspiring other revolutionary movements and sparking debates about social justice and political independence. Some scholars have posited that British Guiana, in particular, was the victim of political turmoil inflicted upon it due to a fear of Cuban communism. Listen to our episode on this matter, Who Was Forbes Burnham? To learn more about this. The revolution also led to a mass exodus of Cubans, primarily to the United States, creating a significant diaspora. Number 7. The US-led invasion of Grenada, 1983. The United States-led invasion of Grenada in 1983, codenamed Operation Urgent Fury, was a controversial military intervention that occurred after a coup d'état led by a radical faction within the ruling New Jewel movement. The US government justified the invasion by citing concerns about the safety of American citizens and the perceived threat of a communist takeover. The invasion sparked international criticism, with many nations condemning it as a violation of international law. The event highlighted the geopolitical complexities of the Caribbean during the Cold War and the region's vulnerability to external intervention. Number 8 on our list is the impact of globalization and economic challenges during the late 20th century and into the 21st century. The late 20th and 21st centuries have witnessed the increasing impact of globalization on the Caribbean. The region has faced numerous economic challenges, including the decline of traditional industries like sugar and bananas, the rise of tourism, and the effects of global economic crises. The Caribbean has also grappled with the complexities of regional integration, seeking to balance national interests with the need for collective action. The rise of drug trafficking, gang violence, and economic inequality bring further challenges to the region's stability and development. And now, in the present moment, we face the dire prospect of a global trade war. Number 9. The rise of Caribbean culture and arts, 20th to 21st centuries. Despite the challenges, the Caribbean has experienced a vibrant cultural renaissance in the 20th and 21st centuries. The Caribbean has produced a wealth of artistic expressions, including music genres like reggae, calypso, and soca. Personalities like Bob Marley, Byron Lee, and Sean Paul are internationally recognized. It has also seen literary works by authors like Derek Walcott, C. R. Persaud, and Edwidge Danticat, and visual arts that reflect the region's diverse cultural heritage. Caribbean culture has had a significant impact on global arts and popular culture, contributing to the world's rich tapestry of creative expression. The region's unique blend of African, European, and indigenous influences has created a rich and dynamic cultural landscape. The final event on our list is the impact of climate change and natural disasters in the 21st century. The 21st century has brought the growing threat of climate change and natural disasters to the forefront of the Caribbean's concerns. The region is highly vulnerable to hurricanes, sea level rise, and other climate-related events, which pose significant risks to its infrastructure, economies, and populations. The devastating impact of hurricanes like Irma and Maria in 2017 highlights the region's vulnerability and the urgent need for climate resilience. The nations of the Caribbean have become vocal advocates for global action to address climate change and mitigate its effects. These 10 historical events represent only a fraction of the complex and multifaceted history of the Caribbean. From the trauma of colonialism and slavery to the triumphs of revolution and cultural expression, the region's history speaks to the resilience and dynamism of its people. The leaders and people of the Caribbean continue to navigate the challenges of the 21st century. They are seeking to build a future that honors the region's past while embracing the opportunities of the present. There is much that remains to be done.
So there it was. A close look at 10 significant historical events that have defined the Caribbean. Of course, there is so much more that we have not even mentioned, but we'll continue to explore on the Aaron Darcy Project. We hope that you have enjoyed today's episode and look forward to your company on the next. Please share your thoughts on this and our other material in the comments. We really appreciate your feedback. It would be nice to get a like, and do encourage your friends to subscribe to our channel. Goodbye for now.